up, guys? So I had my second track day of the year in this car by 22 GR86 last week, and it was probably the worst track day experience that I've had, and most of that is entirely my fault. But yeah, if you saw the intro, you saw that things did not go super well for me. Basically, to wind it back, I had done my previous track day, and I actually took a bunch of video. I just decided that it wasn't super interesting to watch. That's why I kind of like didn't really do much with it. But I was like progressively, improving my times. I wasn't really looking at times as I was going, but afterwards I'd review them and I'd be like, oh wow, I was getting like kind of close to hitting two minutes at the ridge. On it, like stock tires, stock GR86 for all intents and purposes, just brake pads, fluid, a little bit of camber bolts. And at the end of that, I had my front tires were pretty much down to the wear bars, and then the rears are essentially new, Michelin PS4 tires. So I swapped the front worn tires to the rear, and then I did this track day about a month later. And my reasoning was that like I would probably see maybe a little bit more grip, I would think. As the tread wears down, I would assume that maybe I would get like closer to a slick or something like that, because these things were basically beyond the wear bars, very little tread left. So I put them on, show up at the track day. I run the first session, which is kind of like, a shakedown. You're adjusting your pressures as tires get warm, and I knew that the track would get progressively hotter throughout the day. So I do that first session, and then in between sessions, I get a call from my girlfriend who brought our dog to the vet, and we find out that my dog has cancer. I know it's like not like a kid or anything, it's just a dog, a pet, but it's one of those things that like, it's kind of like lingering in your brain the rest of the day. And in retrospect, I probably should have been like, hey, this is, weighing on me a little bit. I mean, yeah, I should at least skip out the next session, if not totally just call it a day. But I was like, I spent over $400 on this track day, just for the entry fee alone. I was like, let me keep going. But mentally, I was just not quite in there, and the car was just sliding more and more. And then me like not really putting in 100% mental focus, I was trying to like overdrive the car a little bit, and those two things were combining, and I was sliding and then spinning. And at one point I spun off the track into the grass, and there was a line of cars behind me, so I had to wait in place before I could re-enter. And I think I was in the grass for about 15 seconds. I spun, so...
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I saw a black flag, but I guess there's a red flag too.
Yeah, a car went off at 8.
Is that me? And I pull away, go around the track. I see that like there's a black flag out. I assume that's for me, so I go in the pit. And at the last flagger stand before the pit, I noticed that it's a red flag, which means like stop. I was like, I'm already going into the pit. I go in there, I talk with the guy, I guess the marshal or whoever you'd call him. It's just like, oh yeah, we heard that there was like an incident on the corner, and he's like, yeah, there was like a big fire going on. Apparently, in my being stopped for about 15 seconds, I set the grass on fire, and from what I had heard from the other people around me, is that it was a pretty big fire. I could kind of smell it on my car once I stopped. Fortunately, there's nothing I could see that was damaged on my car. And then once they closed on the track, immediately rushed over, put out the fire, actually mowed the grass within like maybe 10 minutes. They were back up and running, and that was my fault. So the next couple of sessions, like I was actually getting slower, but it's kind of hard to say because this was the most packed track day that I had ever been to. The B and the C for like the less experienced people were sold out. So it was 30 people a run group in the B and the C. I was running B, intermediate. I believe that there was like a couple of crashes in the C group, and then in the B group it was just so tightly packed that you really couldn't get much of a clean run. Like my fastest lap of the day, I had to lift at least like once or twice, just because like I had to give point bias to faster people, which is kind of frustrating. But there's plenty of worth in a track day where you can't get great times. It's just kind of frustrating when my goal was to hit those times. Later in the day, I had another session where, like the session before us, somebody spilled coolant or oil on the track in like the fastest section, which is basically at the end of the front straight. You do this big S-turn up a hill, and you know you're probably doing 70 to 90 miles an hour depending on the car that you're in. They left like all this oil down there, and the cleanup took about 20 minutes. They left like the kitty litter and sand all over the road. I literally did one lap and was like, this is ridiculous, and I just pulled off, went and got gas, tried to like cool myself down mentally and like physically. It was about 90 degrees out that day. So last session comes around. I don't know, I'm on like my second or third lap. I'm like trying to push a little bit, and then that was my big spin of the day, where I just went way too hot into the hairpin at the top of the hill. I was like, oh, I could totally catch this, you know, I'm good at driving. And I just laid on the throttle basically and tried to catch it, and I just like ran out of steering lock and was just watch the car just continue off into the dirt, and you can actually just see a cloud of dirt just enter in the car. It was actually got in my helmet, got behind my sunglasses, and was like in my eyes. I'm gonna call it for the day. And to make matters worse, in watching the video, I noticed that my helmet wasn't even buckled, which, like, there was helmet checks all day long, and to not be buckled, not have your helmet buckled, is like the stupidest thing. But there's helmet checks all day long, except for that last session. They just waved everybody out because like most people had actually gone home by then. After I had spun, not even realizing that my helmet was unbuckled, I just pulled it into the pits and was like, you know what, I'm done. I don't need to continue. I was like, you know what, this day's a wash. Let me just like pack it in and just call it here and just cut my losses. I basically just would have had like 15 or so minutes left. But I looked at the car, no damage or anything, just a whole lot of dirt. Brought it home, like took me about 4 hours to vacuum out the car and then scrub the whole exterior. Fortunately, I have paint protection film on most of the car, so that helped a lot. I really just think that goes to show you the importance of your mental game when you're doing a track day, because you can't forget that this is high stakes driving, even though like you're in a pretty safe place. And I would say that, you know, when I had my spins, I was at like the lowest speed section, and it was, you know, relatively low risk. Still, like, there were people in front and behind me. Now granted, I would not have chucked it in if like they were right on me and they were like aggressively looking to pass. I think I had about 3 to 5 car lengths in front and back. So in my mind, it was not terrible. Still, like, I should not have been driving in that way, looking back on it. And so I'm a little bit embarrassed by all of that, but I'm putting this out there just to kind of show you how your mind can kind of play with you a little bit. And even though you've had like, you know, a decent amount of experience at the track, or plenty of good days, like, you know, those bad days come too. And fortunately for me, I think I got out pretty easily. I got out pretty lucky, not having any damage. There can sometimes be other people like me on the track that you got to watch out for, you know. Maybe there's another guy having a rough day or something. Going back to you know, my dog, so we're gonna have to have surgery on him. Fortunately, it looks like it's something that is treatable with surgery, and so it's gonna cost basically enough to nullify probably any more of my track days and probably any vacation that I was planning on having this year, which I'm totally fine with, just because, like, you know, I had that money. It's okay, we can afford it, but you know, it's not ideal. It's not fun, and hopefully, you know, the dog makes full recovery. See, he's not very old. He's a 9-year-old corgi. He's got a few years left. Yeah, I'll see if I can make something interesting of that first track day, though. Yeah, what I did there was I did the first half of the day in the rain, the second half in the sun. I linked up with the driving instructor who is like a Chinese Formula 4 driver. He gave me some input, and then like the session later, I dropped 3 seconds off my lap time. So it was a good day. It's just like, I mean, how interesting is that, you know? And then I want to make some more content with the Lotus. I did a muscle car, drag car rally thing where basically all the other guys in muscle cars were doing this thing where they go to the drag strip and they bracket race. And then I just got invited to do their road trip tour. It was like 180 miles around. It was in the torrential rain, and some of these guys are on like steamroller tires. I can feel the vibrations coming from that car.
Exit the traffic circle onto Washington 3 North. Continue on Washington 3 North for 4 miles.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's going straight sideways. That's fun. And they're like slipping and sliding all over the place. And I'm just like guy in the British Roadster just flying down. But it was a cool time. But yeah, so that was kind of what I've been up to the last few weeks. Sorry I haven't really been uploading. It's just you know, it's tough to find the motivation, and you know, like I said, things that are maybe more fun in person don't really make for great videos, and I'm not the most outgoing host. So, you know, I'm just a guy trying to enjoy his cars in his spare time. But yeah, I'll see you around next time, guys, and thank you for watching. It's fun seeing you guys watch my videos. I'll see you.